Forever. Dog.
Oh
man.
Another week at the movies,
Another
Joe.
week at the
Good
movies.
God.
Was it the best one of the year?
It was the most extreme week of the year.
You highs and lows.
Yeah, as we'll talk about on Movies Baby. The highest high.
Oh my gosh.
The lowest low.
Oh Lord, I wonder what movies.
Highest high, lowest low. I mean, could not have been more of an extreme up and down, like a master and commander getting tossed around on that ship. And then one day you wake up you're on the Galapagos Islands. Oh, it's paradise. Oh, heaven, pure cinema. And then the next day, get back on the boat. We got to go blow the shit out of the French Navy.
But that's the tangled webs we weave.
And then there's
here.
just shit all over the floors and blood and cannonballs coming at your head.
That's the risk we run doing this thing, baby.
That's what it's like going to the movies these days. You never quite know what you're going to get.
No, you don't.
This week on Movies Baby. Oh boy. I mean, it's basically what we just said. We're talking I mean, first of all, we're going to be talking Cannes.
Absolutely.
Am I pronouncing that right?
I don't know.
Sir? The Cannes Film Festival with our Cannes correspondent Joe here. We're going to be giving you all the hottest buzz coming out of the hottest damn film festival on planet Earth, the Cannes Film Festival. Plus, we've got reviews of 4 new releases. John Krasinski's childhood whimsy cash grab, If, the Amy Winehouse biopic Back to Black, the horror sequel that's been over 15 years in the making, I guess, The Strangers Chapter 1, and Trash Auteur Harmony Korine's newest movie, Aggro Dr1ft, which was intended to be seen projected on the wall of a strip club, but we saw it in Century City. Joe, are you ready?
You know it, Brett.
Then Margot, roll that theme song. Oh, there it is. This is 10 Things I Hate About You, too. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
It's the 1999 song.
Yeah.
I can't get enough movies, baby. I can't get enough movies, baby. But how about you? Do you have it bad, too? Whenever one ends, it's like the death of a friend. I get to wishing that there were 2 more reels. And then a voice cries out, move, baby, you're in my seat. And you don't want to mess with who the Philly movie freak.
I can't get enough movies, baby.
There he is.
I can't get enough movies, baby. Yes, it's true. Oh, I've got it bad too.
He's got it bad.
Every night of the year, like the moon I appear at every movieplex all over town.
Every single one.
Cut to black. Roll credits. Movies,
Whoa,
baby.
baby.
I can't get enough of the dog next to me. It's my friend, Georgia Movie Dog.
Hi.
It's Brett.
I can't get enough movies, baby.
I can't get enough movies, baby.
I can't get enough movies, baby.
I can't get enough movies.
Yeah!
Welcome to Movies Baby, the weekly show where we break down the hottest movie news, review the latest releases, shout out forgotten classics, and prophesy the future, or lack thereof, of Hollywood. I'm Joe Cilio, a.k.a. the Philly Movie Freak, and I'm joined by my co-host, Brett Boehm, a.k.a. the Georgia Movie Dog.
Go Dogs! Joe, as I said in the cold open, you're our man on the Cannes beat.
Yes.
You've been keeping track
I've
of
been
all
on the
the
phone.
hottest news.
I stay up all night, so in LA, because when it's France in the day, I'm on the phone all day talking to agents, talking to managers, talking to filmmakers, talking to actors. I'm getting the scoop. I'm speaking in French. I'm speaking a whole host of languages, but I am your man on the street.
He's
Movies
got a phone
Baby
on
listeners.
this ear. He's got a phone on that ear. He's
It's
holding
out
2 phones. He's
of
talking to
control.
a third phone.
Sometimes I just stand on a boat here in Los Angeles to make the call to Cannes, just so I'm like, feel of a piece,
He's like David Geffen by the pool. 8 phones, 9 phones, 10 phones.
I built my own croissant outside of my house so I can stand and watch pictures on my iPad at night.
You built your own what?
They call the area where the festival is the Croisette.
Wow. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
already learning something new.
But so what I've been on the phone, I've been hearing about all the movies that they're screening at Cannes this year, and it's an exciting year at Cannes, Brett. I mean, they had such a big year last year. Last year was Anatomy of a Fall, and the Jonathan Glazer movie, Zone of Interest. Thank you. Zone of Interest. They were making huge waves at Cannes. Cannes is still a big deal. It's still insanely prestigious to win the Palme d'Or, to win the jury's award, to win any prizes at Cannes, and people are buying and they're making deals, Brett.
Yeah.
And who's gobbling up what? A24 wants this. Netflix wants that.
I'll give you $5 for Anatomy of the Fall.
I'll give you $6 for
I'll
Anatomy
give
of the
you
Fall.
$7 for Anatomy of the Fall.
I'll give you. I can't do it.
$7.
So that's
Anatomy of the Fall goes for $7.
So I brought a little list for Movies Baby listeners. I have a list. I've been paying attention to what's in competition, what everybody in France is watching this week, and I bring to you Movies Baby selected the 10 movies that we are most excited for here at Movies Baby from the Cannes Film Festival. I have 10 selections from in competition films.
And this is based solely on, there might be a little promo photo or a teaser trailer, but this is really based on just sort of buzz and what you're hearing.
Oh, this is exactly, Brett. This is the early reviews paired with the industry buzz paired with the log line.
Exactly. Cast, director.
He's making a movie? Exactly.
These are the 10 most anticipated movies for Movies Baby coming out of the Cannes Film Festival.
So Cannes titillating as always, and this slate of films is no different. That being said, the reviews for all of them have been somewhat tepid. At Cannes, there's a jury of worldwide film critics that give their early impressions. It's not the actual Cannes jury, but it's a selection of reviewers, and they rate 1 to 4 stars or an X, which means the movie was bad.
Ooh, an X. We should institute an X.
Yeah, only one film this year it has above a 3 average right now.
Wow.
And that is my number 1 pick, actually, because I love that filmmaker. So stay tuned for that.
Okay.
But Brett, let's go ahead and start in on the list. These are the 10 most exciting films, the 10 films we are most excited for coming out of Cannes. Number 10 is Caught by the Tides, okay?
Caught by the Tides.
It's Jia Zhangqi's the Chinese auteur. It's his 6th time in competition. The guy is a Cannes stalwart and favorite. And this of his new movie is it's a fictional narrative, but he started shooting it in 2001 China, when China was bright and optimistic, and they were going to have the Olympics, and they joined the World Trade Organization, and everything was on the up and up. And apparently this film's footage ends during COVID, when China was having a really bad time and a bad look. And apparently it's this really brilliant look. It stars his wife, who's his muse, who's in all of his films. I mean, this is just getting me hyped. And apparently the footage from China across 2001, 2007, all the way up until COVID apparently is just magisterial and groundbreaking and dangerous and exciting. So, that's my number 10.
Love it. Caught by the Tides.
Caught by the Tides. Number 9. Okay, number 9.
Here we go.
This one was bought by A24 before the festival even started, and that usually signals that the movie's really good, but apparently the reviews of this one haven't been really hot coming out of the festival. That movie is Parthenope by Paolo Sorrentino.
Okay, yes.
His new movie, his first time back in Cannes since 2015, when he brought youth in competition to the festival. This is another meditation on youth and beauty. It stars Gary Oldman as John Cheever, apparently.
It's about Sorrentino.
It's about the most beautiful young woman in the world and how she interacts with the world. And I bet it looks great and, is really male gazy.
And this is the guy who is bringing almost like Fellini era Italian style into the new. This is the new great Italian auteur.
He comes from that tradition.
The director of The Great Beauty, sort of Italian maximalism. He's not doing neorealism. He's doing late period Fellini, mid period Fellini, but for the modern age. Yeah, I loved The Great Beauty.
Love The Great Beauty. I love so many of his movies. We were just talking about how we prefer him to Luca. Guadagnino, his
Yes,
contemporary.
yes,
But
yes.
that's neither
Director
here
of
nor there.
Challengers and
Apparently,
Call Me
this
by Your
new film
Name.
is beautiful and challenging. And
Did you see Loro?
No.
That was his movie about Silvio Berlusconi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good?
Loro is fun. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not, I wouldn't say it's on par with The Great Beauty, but it's like, it's fun and there's so much just Paolo Sorrentino nonsense in it, like people on yachts and the bunga bunga parties and like.
Sounds great.
You got to see it. It's kind of made for you.
Okay, cool. That sounds really, really good. Number 8, the 8th movie we're most excited for. Bird by Andrea Arnold.
Ooh,
Andrea Arnold, the director of American Honey, of Red Road, of Fish Tank, all 3 of which won the jury prize at Cannes. Okay, so Andrea's coming and she she owns the town. This actually is a buzzy movie that every kid that works for every production company is going up on Instagram, and when they like, what do you like at the festival? They're always like Bird, which makes me suspicious. But there's a catch. Everything about it makes me suspicious. Andrea Arnold, okay. Coming of age, all right. Starts a 12-year-old, and then her dad's played by Barry Keoghan.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay. Barry Keoghan, right? Hot.
He's good.
I am
He's
though.
good, yeah.
I'm seeing a name in this cast,
That's
Joe. I'm seeing a name in this cast.
That's exactly right. But I was like, okay, Bird, okay, all the kids. It stars our guy, Franz Rogowski.
Franz Rogowski from Passages, baby. The best performance by an actor last year.
We love Franz Rogowski, and apparently he plays Bird, who's like this whimsical guy that the 12-year-old talks to. Again, sounds bad, but apparently it's great, and Franz is Franz. Franz is Franz.
So he's like the imaginary friend of a 12-year-old?
You're that's way too if-coded. I'm sure it's... I'm sure it's much smarter than that.
I've got if on the brain.
Again, I didn't see the movie. This is just the buzz I'm hearing, Brett.
Look,
the buzz.
I don't want anything inappropriate, obviously. If you're not letting Franz be sexy in this movie, and it sounds like maybe you're trying to make him a little twee, I'm going to be very upset.
That's what it sounds like.
You
but
better not make Franz twee.
It's an Andrea Arnold movie. It's not going to be.
It's not going to be twee.
It's not going to be twee. It'll be. It'll be her.
All right.
All right. Number 7. I mean, this one is just this is fucking amazing. Brett.
Yeah, what do we got?
The Iranian director, Muhammad Rasulov.
Mm-hmm.
Please forgive me, Muhammad, if that's not how you pronounce your last name. This is the guy that made Manuscripts Don't Burn, made A Man of Integrity. He's a popular Iranian, not a provocateur. He just happens to live in Iran and be provocative. Therefore, he goes to jail all the time. It's called The Seed.
Famously conservative film industry, very hard, very like censored film industry. Abbas Kiarostami obviously always had to like be very careful in terms of how he wove his themes into his movies. Yeah.
So this gentleman, his new movie is called The Seed of the Sacred Fig. I read about his journey to bring this picture to life. It is absolutely absurd. Okay. He had to, so halfway through the film shoot, Iran heard about this movie, which is about his perspective on the country's oppressive legal system.
Wow.
And they arrested him. But there's a process in Iran where it takes 28 days for like an annulment, not an annulment. What do you call it? Like a, to go to the court or whatever. Yeah. So over those 28 days, he had to figure out a plan, or he had to escape Iran. So he had about 2 hours to decide, and he decided to leave Iran. He met a bunch of guys in prison that when he was there for other filmmaking stuff, and these kids like helped smuggle him out of Iran. They had to get him all the way to the Iranian border where he met the German consulate. He lived in Germany for a while, so Germany was able to corroborate his fingerprints and like get him into Germany. Then he had this like taxing journey across Europe. He was under house arrest making this movie. He made it on a student film budget, Brett, because in Iran, like if they came into our studio right now and saw all these cameras and lights and everything, they're liable to take everything away. So he had like barely any crew, apparently a brilliant DP on this movie that, is also a badass. And they had to make it in secret. They finished it in secret. And they smuggled the film and the man out of the country. Oh, I mean, that's just incredible. He was under house arrest making it. Once he left Iran, since then, up in the past 28 days, this is premiering tomorrow at Cannes, they raided the DP's office. They took the sound engineer is getting pressured. The actors are getting pressured. Everybody's getting like pressed by the government. They're all in trouble and trying to escape. Like, I never want to hear any of these American filmmakers complaining that like Amazon was rigid about like the budget.
This was the theme of Cliff Nesteroff's new book, Outrageous.
Right.
About how like the whole premise is like it's like cancel culture. You can't say anything nowadays. You can say whatever you want in like American media and culture. You might like be like limited in the platforms you can say it on, but you'll find a platform you can say whatever you want on. It's like you have no idea when people talk about like a censorship in America
it's
now.
Absolutely insane.
It's so silly compared to And also compared to previous generations in America. I'm not just saying this is like,
of course,
America's so great, and it's like, but previous generations in America, you think of the Hays Code in the 1930s, and
but even at the Hays Code,
like
you weren't getting. He was sentenced to jail and lashings. He was like, I gotta go. Anyway, obviously, would love to see this gentleman's newest movie, The Seed of the Sacred
sounds
Fate.
amazing.
It sounds amazing.
An incredibly brave act to make that movie. Unbelievable.
I know. Everybody else from their press conferences at Cannes should be like embarrassed. Like, this guy's gonna like steal the show when he gets up on stage and starts talking.
Yeah.
All right, Brett.
Coppola's like, I used my wine money. Aren't I brave?
Yeah.
Speaking of, that's probably gonna show up on here.
That'll probably rear its ugly head sometime in the list. Number 6, the film that, talk about buzz. This thing just was like chattering the whole evening. This one shared
like a hive of bees.
Number 6, Coraline Fargut's The Substance. The Substance.
Everybody's talking about The Substance.
Everyone's talking about The Substance. This director, she previously made Revenge, which you might have seen on Shudder. She made it in 2017. It's a good horror movie. In this one, she goes for like body horror satire. Demi Moore plays a Jane Fonda type, like a TV star turned fitness guru, who finds out that her boss, or longtime company that she's worked for, is wants to fire her and hire someone younger and prettier. Or not prettier, but like younger and all that nonsense. So then what she does is she gets a mysterious elixir, and that creates a younger version of herself, played by Margaret Qualley, and then she can go into her body for 7 days. But if she doesn't leave that body in time, something bad happens. I'm sure something bad happens, and apparently it's a crazy body horror. Right up our alley, Brett. And apparently Demi Moore is like fucking spectacular in this movie.
That's what I kept. That was the name I kept. The name I did not. Shame on me, but the name I did not expect to be hearing coming out of Cannes this year,
sure,
and could not hear more of was Demi Moore in The Substance.
Apparently, it's legit, a great performance in a really like fun, shocking movie. And Qualley's like, I don't mean like attractive. She's so hot right now. She's just like such the it talent. She's going to be in so many movies the next 3 years.
She's in Yorgos' new movie. She's in everything. Andy McDowell's daughter.
She's a good actor.
See it. Yeah. I also see a name on the Substance cast here. Fresh off his Reagan biopic, Dennis Quaid is in The Substance.
It's going to be great, Brett.
I can't wait.
It's number 6. That's
what a bizarre, incredible cast.
It sounds great. Number 5. Speaking of body horror, what's Cronenberg up to this year? In competition again.
Tell me.
Cronenberg's new movie called The Shrouds, Brett.
Great. Love it. I saw him wearing his like fun glasses, his weird like future cyberpunk body horror glasses.
It's his wife of 43 years passed away, and this is sort of his movie that he spun out of his grief. It stars Vincent Cassel and Diane Kruger.
Oh, amazing.
Listen to this.
I love Diane Kruger.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Listen to this. Inconsolable since the death of his wife, Karsh, Vincent Cassel, a prominent businessman, invents a revolutionary and controversial technology that enables the living to monitor their dear departed in their shrouds.
Wow.
One night, multiple graves, including that of Karsh's wife, are desecrated, and he sets out to track down the perpetrators.
Wow.
Come on.
I love that Cronenberg confidently puts in their shrouds in the log line, as though that's a thing that we all would like. In their shrouds, of course.
And then like the image that was associated with this was sort of a Vincent Cassel standing in front of a bunch of like giant grave-sized Game Boys that are like glowing blue.
Come on.
This
sounds like vintage Cronenberg. I cannot wait.
We're going to see that.
I cannot wait. I'm also seeing Guy Pearce in the cast.
No,
come on.
It's a great cast, and it got mixed ass reviews, like all these movies.
Great.
I think
that's what I want from a Cronenberg movie.
Also, that's what I want from Cannes. Like, I don't want all the Cannes people being like, "That was amazing." Like, they're supposed to be as fucking assholey as humanly possible. That's like in the spirit of Cannes.
Yeah. Don't forget that Cannes gave The Beaver like a 15-minute standing ovation. That was the movie where Mel Gibson talked through a beaver puppet.
Pretty good.
Number crazy, 4. Margo. 15 minutes they stood and applauded for the beaver.
Pretty good. Number 4. Megalopolis.
Okay, all right, okay.
Here it is, folks. Megalopolis.
Only at 4.
Francis
it's
Ford.
dropping for you, I think.
No. Francis Ford Coppola's $120 million self-financed 40-year-long fucking whatever the hell this movie's going to be.
Can't wait.
I've heard everything about this movie, and you have too. A mad eco sci-fi blockbuster. I mean, the reviews are very funny. Some people hate it. Some people
can't
love
wait.
it.
That's what you want. That's
what you want.
Yeah.
But this felt sensible and exciting. Damon Weiss at Deadline wrote, Coppola breaks many of the cardinal rules of filmmaking in the film's 138 minutes, but it upholds the most important one. It is never ever boring, and it will inspire just as many artists as the audience it will alienate.
Maybe this.
You know what I mean?
We talked on Bergman last week about how Coppola arguably Coppola influenced Paul Thomas Anderson to create Magnolia by telling him in that fateful encounter at that restaurant, whatever you want to do it now. This is your blank check moment. Do it now. Put it all out there. Maybe Coppola is sort of having a Magnolia moment here at the end of his career.
Course, man.
Because all I hear about this movie is all these disjointed anecdotes that are hard to imagine as like a coherent whole. But I love it. I love Coppola just like trying shit. At this point in his career, it's so awesome.
And paying for all. Apparently, look,
paying for everything.
An attendee at the City Walk screening before Cannes told a journalist, quote, there are 0 commercial prospects for this film, and good for him.
God bless him. God bless him.
Do you know what I heard? I almost feel like I'm spoiling it, but I didn't see it, or I don't know if it's true. Apparently there's a part where Adam Driver in the movie talks to a man that walks out on the stage at the theater. Like, does that mean when we go to City Walk that like the 12-year-old kid that like is the manager is gonna have to like come out and read sides for Megalopolis?
This is my question.
That would be fantastic.
Who is like, was this just for special screenings for Cannes? Because somebody snapped a photo of it, and sure enough, a guy is standing.
There is a guy. Do you understand, folks? That like is in front of the screen, like an actor in the audience.
He's living
guy.
Adam Driver's
talking to Adam Driver in the movie. When you rent
Purple Rose of
when
Cairo.
you rent the DVD, does it come with like a piece of paper so like your kid can read the side? The Megalopolis.
I want to be the Megalopolis human.
Your daddy's doing Megalopolis.
I'm doing Megalopolis
tonight. Sit down. You can do the part where Aubrey Plaza pisses in 3D.
Because these things are Megalopolis is supposed to. It's gonna get like a fairly wide release, right?
No one's bought it yet.
No one's bought it. Okay.
Like,
well, he could. I mean,
I
could
don't
he
know.
Distribute it himself through
apparently
Zoetrope or something.
I don't know.
Okay, I don't know the. I don't know the infrastructure of Coppola's like business empire, but it's,
he needs
a distributor.
I don't know.
Okay,
apparently he needs a distributor to market it and
nobody
put it up all
bought it.
The festival's not over yet. Someone will buy it. It's coming out this year. The IMAX guy's putting it out already. And like I don't think I'm wrong, but someone will.
You could fully.
We should finance this.
You could fully Barbenheimer Megalopolis.
We should just call a bunch of mainline dads
exactly
and just fund Megalopolis distribution.
Not at the level of Barbenheimer, but you know what I'm talking about. There are a lot of people that this could become their Barbenheimer in 2024. You like what the fuck? Buy Megalopolis. Is the price tag too high? Is he like Dak Prescott holding out for the big money?
Do you hear what we just said, Brett? There's a part where you have to during every screening you have to have a guy walk out and act during it. Like apparently there are some prohibitive stuff. Apparently there's like a 15-minute stretch that led one reviewer to say like there's a 0% chance he's going to get this to be screened.
That's really funny. That's really funny.
How crazy could it be? But apparently it's as crazy as there's an actor in it.
Well, we know Adam Driver does the entire To Be or Not to Be speech from Hamlet.
He does the entire Be or Not to Be. This movie's going to be incredible. Of course it's actually number 1.
What's the context?
But for the
of
gag,
it?
it's number 4. He's an architect. He wants to rebuild like a utopia, and he can control time.
I'm guessing. I'm asking. Does he do in the film? I wonder if he does the To Be or Not to Be speech. Like, is it? Are you meant to think that he's like really doing it in the presence of people in the scene, or is he like in a little like private moment to himself?
I can't wait. What if it's really disappointing? It's just a flashback to him in school.
Doing the play. Yeah. It's the opening is like. I often think. When I created my future city, I often thought about playing Hamlet as a boy. And you get it's the first thing in the movie is him doing To Be or Not to Be, start to finish.
What if before every screening, Coppola goes up front of this, like, it would be really funny if you guys wrote crazy reviews. Just tell him fucking crazy shit.
It's like a Kid Rock at the end of that Rolling Stone interview. Like, if you can make me sound as fucked up as possible, that'd be great for business.
That's what
don't put that's off the record, right?
All right, don't tell anybody. It's just like a pretty good movie. That's regular.
Yeah. It's on the record. Literally doesn't matter.
Speaking of self-funded passion projects, this is the only film on the list that isn't in competition, but it's getting the number 3 slot because that's just how darn excited this crew is for this movie.
I know what this is.
This is Kevin Costner's 4-part, 12-hour long epic about the expansion of the American West.
Great.
Horizon.
Great.
Horizon.
The man to tell that story in 2024 is Kevin Costner.
The director of Open Range and Dances with Wolves and Wyatt Earp. Did he direct Wyatt Earp?
Self-financed? Is that Yellowstone money?
He put up $38 million of the $50 million that it took. Apparently,
he's that liquid. That's fucking crazy.
He mortgaged his houses.
That's right. Okay, that's right. I knew there was some catch.
He was
okay.
I have 4 houses.
Yeah.
I don't need 4 houses. I put 2 of them up. He put 38.
I do need to make Horizon before I die.
Apparently, $38 million of his own money, and he deferred everything. Obviously, but he didn't get paid for directing it. He's the star. He didn't get paid. He got paid nothing. He did the whole thing for free for himself.
Those tears, because I saw the shot of him crying during his standing ovation.
Yes, 10 and a half minute standing
tender
ovation.
Little man tears, just subtle little man tears.
You can hate all you want, but the man is putting his money where his mouth is. He put $38 million on Horizon. Would you care to hear what the reviews are, Brett?
Please tell me.
10 and a half minute long standing ovation. Here are the reviews from the people
that's not great.
From the people that
I don't think that cracks the top 50.
But no, not all time. But this year it's number 2.
This year's been light on standing ovations.
I think they must have sent an email around.
Yeah, they said, guys.
They sent an email. They're like,
guys,
10 minutes is the new hour, okay?
I'm
Chill
mad,
the fuck
though,
out.
because I predicted, we predict the future of Hollywood here. I predicted Megalopolis was going to break Pan's Labyrinth record, because Pan's Labyrinth, of all movies, still has the record. Look, Pan's Labyrinth is great, but what a funny movie to have the record at 22 minutes, I believe. I thought Megalopolis was going to break it.
But apparently no one likes it.
Yeah, that's the problem.
You do have to like it. I think you get 7 minutes of clapping for free, and then every minute after that's about liking it. But that being said, listen to these reviews.
Can you imagine clapping for 7 minutes?
No. I actually really stink. I'm not a great clapper. I'm a real snob about it, and I really am European about it, and I really am careful with my claps.
I can't do more than 7 individual claps, much less clap for 7 minutes.
No, you can't. You can't. There's no. Yeah, you would never be able to go to Cannes and clap for that much.
That's not the only reason I can't go to Cannes.
Well, and you're not allowed in France anymore after the event. Okay, so here's some funny
Event Horizon.
Vanity Fair, more like this is a good review. Well, I'll save that one for last. Okay, here's what I'm hearing from Horizon. Clumsy slog. It plays like a limited series overhauled as a movie, but more like a hasty rough cut than a re-release ready for any format.
Sounds exactly right.
This first part of a quartet of films is littered with inessential scenes and characters that go nowhere, taking far too long to connect its messy plot threads. Any of these plot threads might have sustained an hour of compelling television, but they don't add up to much in this awkwardly stitched quilt, which rarely provides the space for anyone's experiences to resonate.
He's Yellowstone.
That person clapped for 10 and a half minutes and then wrote that. What a fucking backstabber.
The whole time they're thinking, I'm going to rip this one.
I'm going
to rip this movie
assholes.
a new one. Great job, Kevin. Kevin, great job.
IndieWire calls Horizon the dullest cinematic vanity project of the century.
I can't wait to watch this.
That's what I'm saying. It's number 3. Look at this. Costner may have been trying to out Taylor Sheridan.
That's it. He's Yellowstone pilled.
He's like, I'll make my own 12 hours of television and call it a movie and fuck you.
Yeah, the whole time. Because can you imagine all these years Taylor Sheridan's been directing him and he's like,
fuck this guy. I made a Wyatt Earp, I think.
Fucking Dances with Wolves.
I think I made Wyatt Earp.
Did he? He definitely made Dances with Wolves. I don't know.
I think he did. It's like a long movie that seems like him.
It did.
And The Telegraph had a good review calling it Granddad Cinema.
Lawrence Kasdan made Wyatt Earp.
Oh, sorry. All right, well,
Costner's in it.
minus one good movie.
Also in it, Dennis Quaid. The man books. Even post Reagan, the man still books.
Apparently, the Telegraph says it's grandiose, and a lot of the reviews are like, they're all over 3 hours long. It's like, well, you meet like an insane amount of characters, and they all just sort of set up for the next part. So that's number 3, obviously.
Wow, it almost sounds like a Heaven's Gate scenario.
Will 3 and 4 ever get financed? Blah 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 blah. Apparently they've already shot some shots for it, and Costner's trying to get more money, and he's crying poor at the Cannes.
You got to find some new sell your Dodgers season tickets, buddy. I saw him. The one time through like a company thing, I got tickets to sit behind home plate at Dodger Stadium.
What company thing? You work here. We never did that.
Years ago. I was like, when
what?
I was in my like day job era, I was like, got like an employee recognition thing, and they gave me like, Dodgers. It was amazing.
Nice.
No, it was amazing.
Behind the home plate?
Behind home plate for Phillies Dodgers. I saw Ryan Howard is a giant up close. A massive guy.
Love him.
It was one of the best experiences.
His bat's like a tree trunk. Yeah. Like it's the biggest bat you've ever seen in your life. It's like 50 pounds.
And sitting over to the right was Kevin Costner with his family, with his little soul patch on and everything.
He was just saying, "I'm gonna fuck you out of your fucking inheritance, kids. I'm gonna make fucking 4 fucking."
Yeah, I hope you enjoy this,
films.
Dodgers. This is the last time I'm taking you outside for years.
You're gonna have to be buying Dad a dinner soon because Daddy's making Horizon for $38 million.
They went on the field afterwards and took photos with Justin Turner, but the way Kevin Costner just like assumes he can walk onto the field is amazing. Like he didn't wait for any permission. He just like,
he's like
Kevin Costner's like walked onto the field with his family afterwards and no one said anything.
Oh, duh.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's like basic security protocols. How do you know that's Kevin Costner?
So 3, Horizon. Number 2, the second most excited we are for a movie coming out of Cannes this year. Amelia.
I'm really sorry. We don't normally do this, but Dan Vitale in the chat said "lonesome dud." Come on,
fuck you. No,
Come
that's really good.
That's really good. That's really funny.
Good. Honestly, like,
and before that, he called it Kevin's Gate. Dan's on fire.
Dan. Tweet those before like the reviews come out and people steal that.
If I had the kind of money where I could give you Dodgers tickets as a recognition of your contributions, I would. But I don't, and I can't.
Dan, if I had the kind of money where I could invest in your American West expansion epic, I'd give you $38 million.
There we go. But he doesn't.
But I don't, and I can't.
And if he did, he wouldn't.
No. If I had $38 million, none of you would see me ever again. I wouldn't even say bye.
That's so sad.
I wouldn't even say bye.
That's such a sad.
You'd come into work and you'd go.
We've been friends for going on decades.
You'll make new friends. Number 2.
What a miserable little.
Number 2.
Give it to me.
Amelia Perez. This movie is from Jacques Audiard. It's from the guy that made A Prophet.
I respect your. A Prophet is so good.
Jacques Audiard. A Prophet is so fucking good. Almost as good, actually a little bit better than the movie of his that won the Palme d'Or, Deepan. Have you ever seen?
No, I've seen
Deepan. Awesome. A Prophet, fucking amazing.
I've seen Prophet, and I've seen the beat that my heart skipped with that little French heartthrob, Romain Duray.
Well, Amelia Perez is Jacques' new one. This is described as
fumbling these pronunciations.
Listen to this. Selena Gomez and Zoe Saldana are in it, and it's described as a gonzo trans Mexican drug lord musical.
Selena is in a Jacques Audiard movie.
Yeah, because Selena always picks good projects.
God, that is like, I just feel like I did the biggest line of cocaine I've ever seen. I am on fire
can I read
right
this
now
to you?
thinking about this.
This movie begins with Rita, Zoe Saldana, a high-powered defense attorney in Mexico City who keeps finding herself on the wrong side of justice. She's contacted by Manitas, a notorious cartel boss, who makes her an offer she can't refuse. Accept a fortune and live the life she's always wanted in exchange for the underground facilitation of gender reassignment surgery. And so Rita accepts, taking the money and running, while Manitas transforms into Amelia, both versions of whom are played by the trans actress Carla Sofia Gasson, to embark on her own dream life. Their lives, along with that of Manitas' wife, Selena Gomez, collide years later to explosive ends.
I cannot wait.
I mean, come on.
I cannot wait.
Guess who's going to buy this movie and distribute this and put this out? You're going to die. You're like, actually, how about this? Think of the person that you would think least would buy this movie and put it on
the Daily Wire.
Close. Netflix.
Oh no!
Apparently Netflix is buying this. But apparently Amelia Perez is great. It's like,
if you don't give this shit a theatrical release, I'm going out of that building. You got your logo on the side of.
No, it'll get theatrical release. We're going to see this in a movie
theater.
Taking
a dump on the sidewalk.
No. We're going to see this in the movie theater. Amelia Perez, cannot wait. Love A Prophet. Love Deepan. Love Selena Gomez. Love Zoe Saldana.
Come on, is so good. A Prophet is so good.
But Brett, and maybe that'll win the Palme.
Yeah.
But do you know what movie I think is going to win the Palme?
Here we go.
It's mine.
Okay, so this is not only your most anticipated movie coming out of Cannes, but also the movie you think will win the Palme d'Or.
That's right.
Okay, what do we got?
The number one movie we're most excited for coming out of Cannes is Sean Baker's new movie.
Yes!
Honora.
Yes!
Honora.
Yes.
Sean Baker.
Yes.
One of our favorite directors here.
The best.
Made one of my favorite movies of all time, Tangerine. He also made The Florida Project.
One of my favorite movies of all time, The Florida Project.
Which Brett and I think is the second or third greatest A24 movie of all time.
Also made Red Rocket, which is incredible.
And this guy is, I mean, we'll talk about later about who's the greatest American filmmaker, but Sean Baker is working on that distinction.
Joe, you know what? We will talk about that later.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to backtrack. This is so funny. I'm going to backtrack on what I told you previously. because I thought of Sean Baker, and I was
Yeah.
like, this is too complicated. There's too many names.
We'll do Greatest American Director later, but
Yes.
somebody that would come up if we were having that conversation undoubtedly is Sean Baker.
And we're talking about like prime of their career. We know Coppola, Scorsese, et cetera, are still making movies, and they're great, but like prime of their career, active American film director. Last week I said it was PTA, but then I thought of another name, and then I thought of Sean Baker, and we watched The Virgin Suicides this week for Bergman. Sofia Coppola's in there. Like, it's just impossible. It's impossible.
This movie stars Mickey Madison in a huge breakout role. She plays a sex worker, in Brooklyn whose latest client is a 21-year-old son of a Russian billionaire. He flies her to Vegas. They have a crazy night and they get married in Vegas. And then the Russians, like consigliere, go to Vegas to hunt them down to make them break up their marriage. And apparently it's like Pretty Women meets Uncut Gems, and everyone's going goo goo gaga over it. Goo goo gaga over it. Lots of sex workers are in it, like as actors and stuff, because he's carrying the torch. And what more could you possibly ask for? Apparently the movie is his best. Apparently it's very funny. Apparently it's absolutely beautiful and amazing, and apparently it crescendos incredibly. And Neon bought this when they were in post-production, because Neon, they have their eye on the ball, and they gobbled this up the second somebody emailed them the log line. So that's my number one, Brett. Number one, Honora.
I knew he was going to come. I knew he was
sorry.
going to come hard after Red Rocket.
Yeah,
because Red Rocket is great. I loved it. I think it's my least favorite of his movies.
Easy.
But that's a high bar to that's no shade. But it's the kind of movie where I could feel he was like, oh, I should have had a little more teeth in this moment, or a little more teeth in that moment, or this was a little sort of not done. Like, it's a movie where I almost could feel him like realizing what he had to fix for the next movie, and then just coming hard with the next one.
Apparently this is the synthesis of everything he's learned, and it's just terrific. So that's number one. We'll see what Greta Gerwig and her jury give the Palme d'Or.
Make the right call, Greta.
But I'd love to see Sean Baker take
any
it
of those movies, though.
Don't
give it to Horizon.
Horizon's not in competition.
Oh,
now,
okay.
if you want to be the coolest jury of all time, you could give it to Horizon.
I do love just a batshit insane Palme d'Or. Remember when Michael Moore won the Palme d'Or?
Yeah, yes, that.
Well,
Let's do that.
Who was the head of the jury the year that Michael Moore won the Palme d'Or?
Jane Campion.
Was it?
No, I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Michael. All right, I can't look it up now. But who? If the chat figures it out, let us know. Who was in charge of the Cannes jury the year that Michael Moore? Did he win for Fahrenheit 9/11?
I think so.
Yeah,
but I
think
remember.
he won the Palme d'Or for Fahrenheit.
For
9/11.
Fahrenheit fucking 9/11. Yeah, so we'll see.
Okay.
Anyway, here's to Honora, here's to Amelia Perez. We'll see what comes out of Cannes. And honestly, Brett, here's to the movies.
Here's to the movies. Wow.
Cheers. Are you hyped for these films or what?
I am so excited
The
for all those
Shrouds,
films.
baby.
I am so excited. And one of the themes of this episode, because people I think have been saying online and in person to my face that we've been a little harsh on movies on this show.
Fangoon.
But look, here's the thing. Nobody's paying us from the studios. We don't owe anybody anything. We're just honest about our experiences going to movies, and we're honest for your sake. We have no agenda. We just tell you what we see. And it just so happens that we hit kind of a little run of stinkers there, but that happens in your April, May months sometimes. We've also had movies that we really liked. But this week, I'm excited about so many of those movies that you mentioned.
Yeah, man.
And then we're going to talk in a second here about a movie that just blew our freaking minds, okay? But before we do that, Margo, let's take a look at the box office for this week, the domestic box office. What do we got? All right.
Wow.
So the highlighted movies of the new releases, 3 of which we're going to talk about tonight. If John Krasinski's like childhood whimsy imaginary friend movie topped the box office, it also had by far the biggest budget. It had like a Fall Guy budget, not quite as much, but it was over $100 million budget.
You're kidding.
And then about $50 million in marketing, massive budget. So it was expected to do $40 million in its first weekend. It underperformed at like, I think it's a little higher than that in total. I think it was like at 35 for the weekend. But on a lot of screens, so it slightly underperformed. But you can't slightly underperform. It cost $110 million plus an extra 55 in.
And every dollar's on the screen. Is that true? Brett saw it this week. I'm sure every dollar is just. Does it look beautiful up there?
Surprisingly, it is all on the screen. But much like the Fall Guy, you have this experience. Well, look, I'm going to talk about If.
Okay.
But I will say, just in terms of budget, surprisingly, no, it's the kind of movie where it's like, that was way too expensive for how
they
for
like
how
really did it up.
ineffective or how like sort of meaningless it was.
I see.
So no, it was an expensive looking movie, and it's got a long hill to climb if John Krasinski thinks that he found his next franchise after A Quiet Place. We'll see. Then The Strangers Chapter 1. Joe, you're going to talk about that and tell us if you liked it or not. But just in terms of financially, did very well. This movie only cost $8.5 million to make, and then already made almost $12 million its opening weekend. Way overperformed based on the budget.
Nice.
And they've already got 2 sequels. This is supposed to be like a new trilogy. So it looks like those are going to move forward based on how well it did. Back to Black tanked. It wasn't an expensive movie, but good God, less than $3 million on over 2,000 screens. Not a good showing for the Amy Winehouse biopic over here in the States. And then that like Blue Angels documentary made over $1 million
in 227 theaters.
We didn't see it. That's impressive. I mean, compare that to Back to Black. In 2,000 theaters.
Do you know Glenn Powell had produced that?
I
Do you
know
know
he
he's
so
him and his team are so sharp. They're always
always
all
you know
over
who we
the place.
learned that trick from is our old pal Tom Hanks. Remember after Saving Private Ryan, then Tom Hanks just got into making like Band of Brothers and World War II documentaries. Gary Sinise has been tooting that horn for quite a long time. So welcome to the club. I wonder if it's like SNL. They give you a jacket when you enter the
military industrial complex.
Of movie making.
Well, you know what the thing about the Blue Angels is though?
Yeah.
Despite all the like propaganda elements, like whoa, those guys fly planes really close to each
Joe,
other. Like,
I saw the trailer. I was
the
like,
coolest shit I've ever seen in my life.
I would watch the Blue Angels.
My whole life, I've been.
How do they fly those planes so close to each other?
I've not been
crashing?
a plane guy or like a speed guy, but my whole entire life I've been like, they fly the planes how close together? Do you know they're 6 inches apart? They're going like 400 miles per hour.
Unbelievable.
I'm not even hyperbolizing.
Now,
the 400
Joe,
I am.
before we get to the new releases that we just saw on the box office there, which we're going to talk about, we gotta, as though I'm taking my hands and I'm just wiping everything off the table onto the floor, we have to grind this show to a freaking halt because there is another new release that came out this week that was barely on any screens. It's not going to show up on the box office, but it's going to show up in the top place in both of our hearts.
Yep.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, this past week, Joe and I saw in theaters undoubtedly the best movie so far of 2024. Undoubtedly. And I would say one of the best movies of the decade. I'm talking about Harmony Korine's new movie, Aggro Drift. Don't believe the negative reviews. This movie is the truth.
Yes.
It is amazing. I was blown away. Guess what, Joe? Do you mind if I go first? I know we both want to just
take me away.
Sing this movie's praises.
Take me on a journey.
Good news, ladies and gentlemen. Harmony Korine has been playing a lot of video games lately, and that is good news for us because he made an experimental fever dream of an action movie shot entirely in infrared that takes its tropes more from video game franchises like Call of Duty. I saw some Elder Scrolls, some Grand Theft Auto, some Assassin's Creed, but then pushes them to these insane hallucinatory extremes. To briefly summarize Aggro Drift, it is about a sort of philosophical hitman named Bo who has to take down this demonic crime lord. Is it named Toto? What's the crime lord? It's something like Toto or something like that is the crime lord. He wears like a demonic Elder Scrolls helmet. And then you also meet Bo's family, quote unquote. We'll tell you more about that. Oh. You meet his apprentice, played by the hip hop artist Travis Scott. And this whole thing plays out against this infrared neon vision of South Florida, coastal highways and Lambos and speedboats and these big grotesque mansions and hot tubs. There are definitely, some themes at play that are sort of recognizable in Aggro Drift. There's like it's sort of about gamer culture and masculinity and like the dream life of the isolated, aimless American male, sort of, but it's way oversimplifying it to say that Aggro Drift is like a movie of the moment, because Aggro Drift fucking swallows the cultural moment whole in its demonic neon jaws and then vomits back at you this apocalyptic vision of the cultural moment that is at once familiar. A lot of the dialogue and action scenes feel like cutscenes from video games that you've seen before, but is also incredibly unique and surreal in the way that it does that and in the vision that it presents. Also, very important, maybe the most important thing I can tell you about Aggro Drift, it is funny. It is so fucking funny. I was laughing the entire time. It is so funny in the way that Harmony Korine can be so funny, like in The Beach Bum, in parts of Spring Breakers, in Gummo even. It is, but this is by far his funniest movie, his just most sort of laugh out loud movie. Maybe, but a lot of people in my screening were not laughing. I don't know. And that's what's great.
The kids aren't ready for this one.
They might not be ready for this one. This is oh boy, is this a trip of a movie. So let me just tell you like a couple sort of things about Aggro Drift, which is really the only way I can review it.
Right.
The Hitman Bo is doing this like constant stream of consciousness philosophical monologue that sounds like if some kid on 4chan tried to write the script for Ghost Dog. It's like Hitman philosophy, but like so funny and silly at the same time. He'll say things like, I love all the people that I have killed because they are part of me now. The old world is no more. I do this all for my family. The children, we cannot understand their imaginations and they will create the new world. It's just this, it's that kind of woven in and out of these infrared action scenes. And then the hitman and his apprentice Travis Scott are really the only characters that even remotely resemble like humans. Every other main character in the movie feels like a character that was just taken out of a video game and put in the movie. From everything from their like repetitive sort of algorithmic dialogue, like repeating the same phrases over and over again, to their actions, like repetitive actions, like almost like you know how a video game character will sort of like walk into a corner and get stuck and then like walk, like there's a lot of that in the other characters. But the Hitman and Travis Scott both feel like real humans ish in the middle of all of this. And then the way in which those two parts of the movie play against each other is so funny and interesting. To give you an example, there's a scene where the demon crime lord, it is Toto, I have Toto here written, the demon crime lord Toto is at like a sort of dance club, strip club, and he's like dancing around in between these like women who are in cages and have almost like Mad Maxy sort of bikinis on, and then he has like a sword, he always has like a sword, and he just is like walking around in between the cages, and he just keeps saying over and over again, he goes, dance, bitch. Bitch, dance. Dance, bitch. Dance, bitch. Dance, bitch. Oh, over and over in between. Again, like a video game character that got like stuck in their character, kind of over and over. This goes on for like 2 minutes. It's violent and sexist, but that's the point, is how silly it plays in the movie. And then it cuts from that scene, this just gross, dumb, incredibly funny scene, to the hitman, and the hitman in reference to Toto goes, there was a magic in his brutality. I'm like, the fucking
so funny
video game boss that was just like walking around the strip club with a sword. So it's this amazing, like, dumb video game sort of like you know, violence and sexism, then mixed with this like these like pseudo Ghost Dog monologues, and the blend of these elements is just so intoxicating and funny. But then it will have like legitimately gorgeous, mind-blowing psychedelic visuals. There's a shot of Bo on the back porch of his like Miami condo, and he like summons this demon who is kind of like his spirit creature and like follows him throughout his hitman missions. He like summons this demon from like the depths of Miami Bay, and this demon appears as though the world is about to end and then like disappears again just as quickly. The visuals are stunning, fucking stunning. And I will say, in terms of, and I don't want to overplay this because it's a movie that you just have to experience, but there is this interesting interplay between sort of the two poles of like angry 4chan gamer dude mindset, where on the one hand, to me, the hitman is like is the sort of like Jordan Peterson side of that group, where they want a sort of alpha male to spit pseudo philosophy at them and tell them that the world is still operating according to like the code of the samurai and shit. They want that kind of, you know, monologue in their head, but they also just want like the demon crime lord with the sword who's just rattling cages and saying dance bitch. They want like those are the two poles of that mindset, and they're just smashed together over and over again in these like psychedelic trippy visuals. It is fucking amazing. Once again, it's not the moment, it swallows the moment, swallows the cultural moment whole. Joe, I don't want to hog all the best parts. Do you want to talk about I have talking about the hitman's family?
Go ahead. Keep going with the plot. I want to talk more about Harmony.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So another part that I just have to tell you all about. The hitman starts talking about how like I do this all for my family. Like I take no pleasure in like killing, but I have to do it for my family and the future of my family. And then you meet his family, and it is just imagine some like some sexist 4chan gamer dude like envisioning he's not like not even as like a masturbatory fantasy, but as like a legitimate like I want to settle down one day and this is what my family's going to look like.
So
his wife is does not seem like a real person. It's like, again, like a sort of like the movements of a video game character, and it looks like a sexy character from Grand Theft Auto, essentially, but like heightened in Harmony Korine's weird ways. And then his kids are like we don't know. His kids are just sort of there.
Well, no, he keeps saying they're the future,
yes,
and he needs to protect them, and they're just like wielding guns and like shooting them into the bay.
That's it. They look like just sort of like boring, just like vapid kids who are on their tablets all day, and then just like are just like the kids of the future. These kids could become mass shooters. Like these kids are like nothing. They're like just sort of like, you know, the products of all this shit. But his family, but he'll come back to his like family, and he'll be like playing with them, but he just has like an open robe on and is just sort of like dancing with them on the balcony of his condo. And meanwhile, he's like, these are the future. This is why I do it. And it's just it's the weirdest fucking shit you've ever seen. And it is so funny. It is so funny. And his wife will occasionally come in. You'll hear her voice come in. She'll be like, come to me. Like, nestle in my flesh, be with me in the bed, I have to go kill for money for the family. And it is this insane. It is so again, like familiar and unfamiliar in the way that he's using like the dustiest, just dumbest tropes, but with his like incredible psychedelic sort of visuals and vision. There's the last scene I have to talk about. I could talk about this movie for an hour. The last thing I have to talk about. There finally is going to be this big confrontation between Bo and Toto. The hitman and the demon crime lord are finally going to meet and fight. And so Bo like breaks into his mansion, very Spring Breakers-y, like pulls up in his speedboat, breaks into the mansion.
It might be the house.
It
from
literally
Spring
might
Breakers.
be
Like
just like B-roll.
If it's not the house, it would remind you of that. The dock where they play the piano and dance around in the mask.
Yes.
It's like that house.
There's some scenes where I'm like, I think you just took B-roll from Spring Breakers and added the infrared, so we didn't notice. So they're both in the mansion. It's not that big of a mansion, but there is like 5 minutes where they're like walking around the mansion, Bo with his guns and then Toto with his sword, and they're like trying to like find each other to fight in the mansion, and they can't like find each other, and it so feels like one of those video games where you've reached like a wall in the level and you can't figure out how to like get to the boss or get like through the level, because Toto is just walking around the mansion with a sword going, I smell your blood. I smell blood. I smell your blood. For 5 minutes he's walking around, and he'll do this thing, Joe, if I may,
please,
where his signature move is he'll take the sword and go like that, like he's humping the air with the sword. So for 5 minutes he's walking around this mansion going, I smell your blood, and then he'll go and it literally is like, I was like, what is happening? And I was like, oh yeah, it's like the video game like stalled for a second, and now we're like, the characters are like stuck and the characters need to like find each other. And then Bo is down on the ground floor with his gun, and he's like, this is it. This is where I meet like, you know, I meet in eternity. Either he will take my life or I will take his. And it's that for 5 minutes while they look for each other in the mansion. It's fucking phenomenal. I hope you like what I'm describing to you, because I would love for everyone to go see Aggro Drift and tell us what you think, because
if you can, it's not in theaters anymore.
It is it's like it's going around in different theaters, it's bouncing around, but you'll eventually get a chance to watch Aggro Drift.
Yeah.
Take the opportunity, even if you hate it. It is just an insane experience.
If you hate it, I mean, sure, that's right.
It's an insane experience.
You know what Harmony and his team set out to do? They wanted to make like an aesthetic drug, essentially. Like, can we make drugs happen visually? And I guess that is like a good way to almost describe what you get to see. So this movie is 80 minutes long. It has an incredible score,
yes,
and it has the most
by Arab music,
gorgeous color palette you've ever seen. What he's able to do with this infrared camera is so spectacular. It doesn't just look like night vision or just look like heat globs. He's using light and shadow.
He's painting.
He is painting, and he's a painter, so it makes sense. So he's painting, and these images, you've never seen anything like it. We were bemoaning the lack of light in movies. Like, we didn't even get to complain about the lack of color, because we're just like, you know, so stuck with all these sorry fucking commercial directors directing these movies or whatever we have nowadays. But to look at Harmony's color palette is amazing. So Harmony Korine, you know, always provocative, always pushing the limit, never, always interested in kind of tearing. I mean, it sounds pejorative, and I actually mean it in his case as a positive, but sort of tearing filmmaking down or apart, destroying narrative, and kind of just how visuals interact with each other. And apparently, so he started this new company, Brett, called Edgelord.
Yep.
Edgelord produced, this is their first movie, Edgelord.
Very funny name for her.
It is very funny.
Company.
So Edgelord is a house, and it's like a couple blocks up from Mar-a-Lago on the beach. And it's him, and he has 15 or 20 people that work there, and it's like skateboarders, fashion designers, AI people, video game people, and Harmony. And it has like a visual FX guy from Marvel who went to go work there, and it has like all these amazing people. He got the money to do this, and it's not some small ambition. It's incredibly ambitious. They hope to make a movie a month. At least that's what Harmony wants to do.
That's what I'm talking about, Harmony.
He's like, he did the thing we always talk about, that Cord Jefferson talked about.
Yep.
Harmony said, why do I want to make a $50 million movie? I want to make $51 million movies. If he wants to make movies at all. Because what Edgelord does is what Harmony is interested in is sort of this moment of collapse that we're in. And what does AI, video games, cell phones, TikTok, the destruction of people's ability to stay connected to anything, the multiple screen, all these things that we on this podcast deplore, Harmony in his infinite harmony-ness has done two things at once, where like he beat Hollywood to the punch. He's integrating AI and sort of this future forward thinking structure for visuals. If you want to call it a movie, great. I do. You know, he said he's not trying to make a movie, you know, it's a movie. You know, these visuals, he's sort of jumped 25, 30, 45, 50 years ahead into whatever the sort of consumer created AI future of content and filmmaking is. But then also he jumped so far ahead that he made it art again. Like, he's already at the part where it's brilliant, beautiful art.
Because it is one thing. There are so many just vapid do nothing people all over the country who are like trying to figure out how to incorporate AI. Like, it's one thing to have that thought. It's another thing to translate those thoughts into this experience of this movie.
The AI art in this is so spectacular and mind-boggling. Like, you'll know what I mean when you see it. It's so gorgeous. Like, I can't believe I saw a movie that incorporated all these elements. Destroyed narrative, hates movies, like isn't supposed to be seen. I'm not that surprised though, because Harmony Korine's been doing this my entire life and his entire life, and he's bored with movies, and he's also addicted to them. So
same.
Great way of putting
it.
He's down there outside of Mar-a-Lago with his like weird team, and I read some of the other like things they're working on. So basically they all have ideas and they kind of like make it really fast, but it's all this weird stuff that we can't even imagine, Brett, where you're watching a movie where people are watching games, and then you can like warg into the game, and it uses VR, and it's all this crazy stuff. And he's just in the lab with Edgelord, financed, that I tell you, by what's this guy's name? Matt Holt. He's the president of the board at the Paris Review, and he's a private equity guy, and he put a shit ton of money into this, and they got other investors involved as well. And, Harmony already cracked the AI code before Hollywood even could take one step in figuring out however they're going to use it badly. He's 17 steps ahead. Brett said, oh, this is one of the most important movies of the decade. There's really no doubt about that. It really is like a nexus point event in the history of filmmaking. This is not
recency bias. This is like you know it. I can count on my hand probably 10 experiences I've had in a movie theater where you instantly know you're watching something very unique and special. Aggro Drift would be in my top 10. You instantly realize that you're watching something that no one else is doing. But it's also, again, I cannot stress how it's just like so fucking funny and so fun.
It's not
and
homework, folks.
To watch. It's not homework.
It's a dream. It's the best. I love it. It's 80 minutes long. Like everything about it is so spectacular. The distribution rollout spectacular. The future, whatever this company is. Like if every company I hear about AI, filmmaking, future, I just like lose my mind. But if these freaks want to do their thing down in Palm Beach or whatever Mar-a-Lago is, you can be my guest, Harmony. You can keep rocking the boat as long as you live. I love you. He's working on, he's a big painter, so he just like goes in his room upstairs and just like paints all day, and he paints like Aggro Drift looking paintings, and he's a fucking amazing.
All right,
he's a brilliant.
I'm gonna say too, and I'm gonna add another recognition to this movie. We said best movie of the year so far, one of the best movies of the decade. I'm gonna say Aggro Drift is Harmony Korine's best movie. His best movie, and I love Harmony Korine. I'll tell you why it's his best movie, because we've seen this with some other directors we've talked about, where it is the perfect like middle ground movie where all the best parts of Harmony Korine come together in one movie. Aggro Drift combines the experimental trailer park punk spirit of Gummo with this newfound Florida aesthetic that he loves in Spring Breakers and Beach Bum. It is Gummo meets Beach Bum, and I fucking loved it. But then plus 8 other things, plus this whole new vision of media that he's working on at Edgelord. This is his masterpiece. I don't even know if he intended it to be, but that's how the Harmony Korine masterpiece was always going to happen, by accident in the weirdest way possible. Aggro Drift, best movie of the year by a mile. Top 10 of the decade easily. And I was so inspired, Joe, if I may. I was so inspired by Aggro Drift that I was, because recently, and it's all good. It's all good. I ain't sweating it, baby. But recently, we've been getting some major flack on, particularly on TikTok, from some of these film bros on TikTok who are not happy with our takes on there. And again, it's fine, baby. I say what I say, you say what you say, and the world keeps spinning. I don't give a shit. But I was so inspired by Aggro Drift. I was like, oh, it'd be so fun. I said what I said. They're saying what they're saying. They particularly didn't like my Planet of the Apes take, which is I just said that like the CG, like Kingdom of the Apes had an over reliance on CGI at the expense of story and character, and it kind of ruined the Planet of the Apes.
You also
franchise.
said it has beautiful CGI.
I also said beautiful CGI.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm not against CGI. Anyway, they really hated my Planet of the Apes take.
Yeah.
Shut up, you fool. Who is this guy? Who even is this guy? Who told him he could talk? A lot of that. But again,
just anybody can talk now.
I don't care. Say what you want to say, baby. Say what you want to say. But you said what you said. Now I'm going to say what I want to say again. Here's my rebuttal. And I'm going to do it Aggro Drift style. So Margo, if we can get that Aggro Drift filter going.
Yeah, you guys are going to go on YouTube. Subscribe to our Patreon so you can watch this. Go, guys, listen right now. Brett's doing something very funny and cool, and Margo is assisting awesomely with the tech. Go to patreon.com/moviesbaby5ys. That's moviesbaby with 5 Ys. You can watch full video episodes of the podcast. Oh, cool. Wait, you got like a demon voice. All right, folks, go on YouTube. Watch this.
All the film bros on TikTok. I've seen you. I see you when you're sleeping. I see what you've been writing about my Planet of the Apes take. You think I'm stupid. You think I don't know. You think I don't know how mocap works. I know how mocap works. You don't know half of what I know. I am a warrior. I fight for my family. I I fight for movies. Do you know the pleasure of pure cinema, you fools? We are living in the last days. We shall see the sky run red with blood and rain fire on our asses. This is not a time to suffer, fools. Fools like you! You who question me on TikTok and occasionally on YouTube Shorts. You whose favorite film is Scott Pilgrim, I will destroy you! I will go berserk on your ass. I have access to drugs you've never heard of. I will meet you upon the fiery plain. I will summon ancient powers. I will shrink you to the size of a booger. And I will flick you into the ocean. I will win the battle for cinema, for the future of cinema, not you. And then I will drive my speedboat into a building and die with honor. Long live the demon soul of cinema! Long live Aggro Drift! And may all who oppose it choke on their own spume and perish and be forgotten. That's it.
Wow. All right. Well, I mean, there you go. So if you're being mean to Brett online, I think he laid it out pretty clearly, kind of how he feels about that. Not good. Not good.
But once again, I'm not sweating it. Say whatever you want to say.
What are these drugs that you have that no one knows the name of? Can I have one?
I got a little carried away with that line.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you just have.
I just got
a
access
weed
to the
pen.
normal
Yeah,
ones.
a
Yeah,
weed
to the
pen.
normal ones.
Okay, cool. Well, what do you say? A couple minute-long reviews
All
of
right,
these,
let's
other
hit
ones?
these movies. Let's hit these new releases real quick.
Let's do some quickies.
All right. Oh,
Quickies.
What an extreme experience watching Aggro Drift one night and John Krasinski's If the next night. Joe, I may occasionally hyperbolize on this show. We're all guilty of it, but I was not hyperbolizing about Aggro Drift, and I am not exaggerating when I say to you on this show, on Movies Baby, that John Krasinski's If is the worst movie I have ever seen. John Krasinski's If is the worst movie I have ever seen. I am not exaggerating to you people.
Ever.
And it is, I will say this, it's uniquely constructed to annoy me and what I like about movies.
Okay.
But I feel like that's the same for a lot of people. So I'm going to generalize and say this is the worst movie I've ever seen.
Okay.
I think I can transcend whatever subjective limitations I have about If. And I'm so sorry, Mario. Can we get that If banner up? I just don't want to associate Aggro Drift. No, it's fine. It is totally fine. I just don't want to associate Aggro Drift with just the brutal takedown I'm about to attempt on John Krasinski's
doesn't deserve
If.
that. Yeah, we like Aggro
Let's see
Drift.
Let's see that little purple guy. Where's that little purple guy from?
Steve Carell plays the purple
Steve
guy,
Carell
right?
plays the purple guy. There he
There
is.
he is. Right. So if you're
If
watching on YouTube,
stands for imaginary
you can
friend.
see our lower third's got the
All
purple
right.
guy.
I want you all to imagine if the world's most annoying boyfriend made a Pixar movie. That's If. John Krasinski is a problem, people. He is becoming a bigger problem by the day. He is a supremely motivated and utterly talentless filmmaker, the worst possible combination. He is well-connected and without inspiration. He is a director whose movies feel cynically geared to make studios happy but not audiences. This is the man who started hosting a homemade talk show during COVID called Some Some Good News that was dedicated entirely to good news and had an adorable little sign drawn by his children. Fun. Jim from The Office is trying to make our lives better. Until he sold it to Viacom CBS for millions of dollars and then we never heard about it again. This guy literally profited off COVID. That is pandemic profiteering.
He's a real Fauci type.
He took advantage. Shut up. He took advantage of our vulnerability that we just wanted something fun and then sold it to the Viacom CBS like that. He also is the man who stood on a red carpet at the Jack Ryan premiere and said, quote, "The CIA is something we should all not only cherish, but be saying thank you for every single day." John, what are you doing? A healthy distrust of the CIA is literally one of the few things that we all agree on at this moment. It's all we have left. Why are you trying to take that away from us?
It's like that in football. Like,
what
that's
are you
it.
doing?
Yeah, right,
that's
right.
it.
Yeah.
You company man, you hack. Now, I want you to imagine that guy I just described making a whimsical kids movie. What kind of movie are you picturing right now? Because it's probably exactly that kind of movie. A transparent cash grab that tries to monetize childhood whimsy while making a movie that no child could possibly relate to or enjoy. This movie isn't actually for kids. Or if it is trying to be, it doesn't understand kids. Don't you have kids, John? A movie whose surprisingly convoluted plot, weirdly hard to follow this movie, can only be explained as a strategic attempt to create as many pathways to IP expansion as possible. John isn't content with one franchise, A Quiet Place. He wants more franchises, baby, and then more, until the mind of John Krasinski is a phrase that we have to pledge fucking allegiance to during Homeroom. So what is If about? Briefly, I don't even know, to be honest, and I sat through the whole thing. There are imaginary friends are real. So the imaginary friend you had as a kid, whether that's that big purple Grimace knockoff voiced by Steve Carell, or some sort of Betty Boop looking fly that Fiona Shaw, voiced by Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Sorry.
But in the movie, it's Fiona Shaw who was roped into doing this for some unknown reason.
Got it.
Money. Sure. That's her imaginary friend. Whatever. Okay, it's about imaginary friends, and then when you don't believe in the imaginary friend anymore, they go to like a retirement home under Coney Island, and then Ryan Reynolds kind of has to like watch over them all, and he's constantly sort of like White Rabbit levels of like anxiety about it, and he's got like suspenders on, and he's sort of fancifully dressed, and he's running around doing Ryan Reynolds shtick.
When you like a red button, like what I don't want to hear anymore.
And there are I haven't even got to the point where John Krasinski does his best Patch Adams imitation. I'll talk about that in a second. So whatever, who gives a shit what If is about? It's about imaginary friends and a lot of this, CGI and all John Krasinski's famous friends doing their voices, blah, blah, blah. What it really does is it answers the question, hey, what if a Park Slope kid-friendly speakeasy with craft cocktails and a game corner was a movie? Hey, what if whimsy was a corkscrew that Jim from The Office kept twisting into your skull for 90 minutes? Here's some things that made The Fires of Hell seem like an enviable alternative while I was watching this movie. In the opening scene, they do a sort of whimsy of childhood montage where you see John Krasinski, who's in the movie, his two kids running around the multiple floors of the Park Slope brownstone they live in, doing fun, expensive games that are full of arts and crafts and things that no kid could possibly be competent enough to create, much less sort of be occupied by for more than 5 minutes. It is once again, it is like a Park Slope parent's vision of whimsy. And I'm sorry.
You gotta chill out on
Park
the Park
Slope is gorgeous. Our friend Joe lives there, and they have
chill out.
It's beautiful. But I don't know what other place I can use to explain this.
Is explaining it.
It's like, look, every place has its bad parts, its good parts. I love Park Slope. It's gorgeous. But you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm fucking saying.
God.
You know what I'm saying.
I'm glad you clarified.
These fucking hipsters that bought a brownstone in the 80s for cheap, and now it's like $3 million. Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. All right, so blah 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 blah. They dress their 6-year-old up like Tina Turner. That's kind of weird. And then halfway through this opening whimsy of childhood montage, they start to be like in a hospital, and I'm like, huh? And then the mom is starting to clearly go through chemotherapy. They're still doing Whimsy of Childhood, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding
Sorry,
me?"
so this is minute like 1, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
I was like,
this is the first minute of the movie.
He's doing Up. He does Up as the opening, cold open of the movie.
Got it.
But just charmlessly, so charmlessly, it's offensive. And he kills off the mom before anybody has a line of dialogue. This mom is dead in the cold open.
Good. Good.
And then John Krasinski weirdly got jealous of whatever sort of like emotional capital that won for the mom character. When we come back to the present day, John Krasinski's very healthy looking character is also in the hospital and is suffering from some unnamed illness in the movie, and he keeps reassuring the daughter, "It's just a routine surgery, I'll be fine." And I was like, what is happening?
Okay.
Like, it literally feels like John Krasinski was jealous of that he killed off the mother, and he's like, I want that sort of unearned like I want the audience's like empathy.
So you think you think his character in the movie was faking being ill?
Possibly.
Okay. All right, we don't know.
Possibly.
Okay. So what about the imaginary
while
friends?
He's in hold on.
Sorry.
While he's in the hospital, he starts doing these Patch Adams routines to entertain his daughter when she comes to visit him. He puts a wig on an IV bag and is doing a sort of Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers dance with it. The only problem is, look, Patch Adams was tough enough when Robin Williams attempted it. John Krasinski is the most, I know we can do those little looks to camera from The Office. This is one of our most charmless actors. This man has zero charisma, zero charm, and watching him do goofy Robin Williams shtick makes me want to freaking shove. I wanted to have an imaginary friend with a machine gun to kill me is what I wanted, an imaginary friend. I was miserable in this movie. This movie was like looking into the pits of hell. It's so cynical in the way that it thinks it's a movie for kids. It's not a movie for kids. Kids like weird shit. Kids like think about the stuff you liked as a kid. You don't like some adult's version of what they think. It is such like an adult's version of a kid's movie.
So how do the imaginary
Joe,
friends factor?
I don't care about the plot. I don't know. They come and they go.
We don't know. They come and they go.
I'm not kidding. I was a little blinded by rage. Yeah. It is also weirdly hard to follow.
Right.
It's like has a weirdly convoluted plot that I again think is because it was like this movie is like potentially setting up an If franchise, and so he needed to like really do a lot of groundwork, but the groundwork gets a little messy, and this movie could have had like, it really just could have had a simple like Monsters Inc. sort of like, like establish the plot, the imaginary friends come and go from the real world. Like it could have very simply, easily established the dynamics. It doesn't. It tries to make it as hard as possible in order to like extend the boundaries of the world. So there's a lot to pull from for future movies. I think that's my guess.
Okay. And so Ryan Reynolds comes off poorly in the film.
Reynolds is cooked. Wow.
So
Here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say, Joe. If is so eager. It's so eager to win your heart so that it can like own your heart financially. That is the vibe of the movie. Ugh. It's the eagerness of Visa asking you to sign up for a credit card with 0% introductory APR. It's the eagerness of a financial institution that doesn't respect you. This, if plus Krasinski's CIA comment plus some good news, that's 3 strikes, Krasinski. You're out. No more movies for Krasinski.
Fair enough. I saw a movie this week, Brett. I saw the Strangers Chapter 1. Here's my review of The Strangers Chapter 1. Just a little background. The Strangers was a horror movie that came out in the early 2000s that was like pretty good and like made some money. And I like it plenty. It's a home invasion film when these 3 people in masks come and torture 2 people at their house, and it's very deeply upsetting and scary, right? Who wants that?
Great movie, though.
Who wants that? Movie. But The Strangers is good.
Great
10 years later or 6 years later, they made a sequel to that one that people are back and forth on. It didn't really, hit like The Strangers did, whatever. Now they're ready to reboot The Strangers, and Rennie Harlan, who you know from Nightmare on Elm Street 4. You know him from Die Hard 2. Cliffhanger hanging on our walls in our basement here. The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Long Kiss Goodnight.
Deep Blue Sea. a journeyman who's made a Finnish guy. He's made movies in Europe. He's made movies in China. He's made movies in Hollywood, right? He's been all around the block. He's back in Hollywood with this idea they have that is actually, Brett and I have talked about it on the show, as far as like a concept for production distribution, seems very exciting. The Strangers Chapter 1 with chapters 2 and 3 going to follow up later this year, or, you know, in the next year or whatever. And that's definitely going to happen. As Brett said earlier in the podcast, this movie had an $8 million budget. It made 12. It's going to go on and make 20 and 40 over, you know, we're getting parts 2 and part 3. So how are they rebooting it, or is it a sequel, or what is it? It's neither, Brett, a remake or a sequel or a prequel. It's like another thing that these 3 guys wearing the masks do. And this movie is super insistent on turning the 3 bad guys with the masks from The Strangers into, like, you know, Michael Myers or Chucky or something. They really are trying to hammer home, like, these are horror icons now. I insist. The Strangers guys, like a lot of that myth making in the film here. But ultimately, Brett, you know, as the movie credits rolled and as I stood up, like by the time my knees like got straight, I had forgotten what the movie was about. I was completely of sound mind. And I was excited for the film. It wasn't like, oh, I like fucked up. I was so drunk. I did nothing.
We don't phone this in. We are film critics. We're film critics.
I went like during the day. I like watched the movie.
We watched these movies.
Like for work, like for this moment right now. And as I was standing up, like when my butt left the seat and by the time it got all the way up to where I stand, I had already forgotten what I had watched. Seriously though, this movie was very disappointing because it's just very much a rehash of The Strangers, Brett. It hits a lot of the beats you might have liked and remembered from the early 2000s horror movie The Strangers and just sort of rehashes them, but it's not unsettling this time because the camera work's poor, and it's not unsettling this time because the script is bad, the actors are bad, the setup is silly. It has 2 young attractive actors from Riverside, neither of whom are given anything to act. Who knows if these kids are good at acting? I'm sure they're very talented. Like they're not in a real movie with a real script. They're just like doing a horror movie. They do fine. And then, you know, the whole thing about The Strangers is they lead, you know, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Right. And the bad guy leans over and is like, because you were in the house,
because right? You were here. Oh yeah. Or, because you were home.
Because you were home.
Because you were home.
In this one, it's like, because you were here, or like whatever the reason is. But then there's a very sexualized stabbing where in the climax of this film, the guy with the burlap sack face stabs the woman, whatever, in her private area, excuse me.
Oh my God.
Whatever. And it's so graphic and violent all of a sudden. And I'm like, okay, well, it seems very fucking crystal clear why you were here. Some sort of sick, perverse, fucking twisted sex thing. Why are you being obtuse about it, The Strangers?
Yeah.
So stupid.
Ooh, I don't like that.
No, Brett, I didn't like it either. And like, because it just didn't earn it. It was so graphic and vile and upsetting without like having anything foundationally over the past hour and 20 minutes that it like earns that type of a thing. It's very like shocking, jarring, and ugly, and very didn't work. And it's not about it being too violent. It's about it being unearned.
That's like serial killer ritual, but that's not what The Strangers is.
No. Yeah.
That's not the appeal of The Strangers.
Also at the end, it like cuts to a woman in a bed and she like wakes up in the hospital and she goes, and then it goes to be continued. And then I was like, wait, now fuck. I don't think that woman was in the movie yet. Like it's setting up like I was like,
it got confused.
Don't quote me on it, but I was like, maybe like in the beginning we met this woman or something. But I was like, I don't know what. It set up a movie that I had no context for, and then it's like part 2. I'm going to go to part 2. I'm going to go to part 3. A, because of the podcast. B, because I'd go anyway because it's fucking horror movie. Yeah. But Brett, ultimately, it's just a wash. It's not like it's the worst horror movie of the year, but it's certainly a stinker. On the power rankings, I'd put it below First Omen. I put it below Immaculate, but I would put it slightly above Abigail, slightly above Late Night with the Devil. Only because those movies really grinded my gears. But there's nothing to see here, folks, unless you're a horror freak. Like it's just not a great movie.
Unless you're like a horror completist.
Unless you're a completist, or unless you're hosting the podcast Movies Baby. Yeah. 5 Ys, there's no reason.
We've seen this interesting trend though. We saw it with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, where studios need to like refresh the franchise. Or in this case, it's not even a franchise, but they need to like, this is clearly like they're just redoing They're basically erasing the first one.
They're clean slating it.
They're redoing the first one.
New-genning it. These kids have cell phones. The strangers.
And all of these little details that you hated are probably things that are, again, like it's like every time I see stuff in a movie, I'm like, is this just like so you can have a thread for the franchise? Like this is something that's going to, like, I don't know.
To be continued
half the time.
Like, what? To be continued what? Like these 3 people invaded this house, killed the 2 people. And
truly the worst. Like,
to be continued what?
I'm honestly pissed off. I love the original Strangers.
Me too.
The appeal of the original Strangers is in its like isolation as an isolated movie because there is no. It's so chilling at the end when they just say.
The horror of the Strangers is it really feels like unprompted.
It feels pointless,
and this feels very like purposeful.
Exactly.
Chapter 1, so it's not scary,
No,
right? Exactly,
no,
Brett.
No,
right.
When they said because you were home and it just all feels pointless and there was no personal motivation,
terrifying.
There's nothing you could track. That is terrifying. Could that combine with home invasion? Terrifying.
But to like use it as a universe setup.
I swear to God, if you start packing in lore into the Strangers, I'm fucking revolting.
Dude, it was a lore fest, or at least it suggested
it's like a pre-lore fest.
It was a pre-lore fest.
Yeah, the lore is coming,
and the frame was like, there are 1 million crimes in America every year. Here's just one of those crimes.
Great.
Like anti-crime
I can't wait
Kill
to.
yourself.
I can't wait to find out how Bagface from the Strangers, like how his wife
Bagface
died.
origins, and then there's like the 2 Betty Boops, and like I can't wait to hear like I bet they're fucked up. I can't wait to learn about their twisted past.
How dare you?
I don't know, Brett.
Some things deserve to be a mystery.
It seems on its face, that being said, like a good idea. Like I was really hyped for
I was very
this
excited.
trilogy, and now it's just a wash. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway. Last film of the week,
last
Brett.
film, Back to Black, very quickly, and really quick before I do that, because I feel like Park Slope got astray in my if.
I lived in Park Slope for a long time.
Here's
it's
what I'll say.
Okay.
Two things. Yeah. I love it. It's gorgeous. I visited our friend Joe there. They were nice enough to let me stay with them. I had an absolute blast. Just a gorgeous neighborhood.
Joe Silver. Yeah.
Joe Silver.
Friend
Gorgeous neighborhood. So much to do, so much fun. 2 things I will say. If I should have said, literally takes place in Park Slope. So I wasn't just like picking.
No, it sounds like it does. Also, these parents exist in Park
exactly.
Slope.
Exactly. And I am talking about the bad part of Park Slope, not the good part of Park Slope. So I'm sorry. I'm not trying.
It's 8th Ave, not 5th Ave.
Thank you. I'm not trying to. I'll leave that up to you, New Yorkers. But I'm not trying to implicate all of Park Slope. But you also know what I'm talking about.
No,
you know what I mean?
We all know.
Also, just like. Take part. There's like placeholder. Enter the part of your city that I'm talking about because you know what I'm talking about. Back to Black, the Amy Winehouse biopic directed by Sam Taylor Johnson. This movie had so many bad vibes during its promotional, sort of pre-promotional tour and marketing tour. It looked like it was like sort of exploitative. It looked like the tone was off. For someone who is such a treasured like icon of music for so many people, it just felt like the movie was sort of like lazy and off in its depiction of Amy Winehouse, at least from the the trailers and the promotional photos and so on and so forth. And having finally seen the movie now, I can say that's mostly right. It wasn't. Maybe just because of my low expectations, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, mostly because there are some really fine actors in it and they give good performances. A couple just like British stalwarts. Leslie Manville is very good in it.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah, she is great. Eddie Marsan, who you know from like Happy Go Lucky and the Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes movies and things, is very good in it. I really do like Marissa Abella, who's from one of my favorite TV shows right now, Industry. She's much better in Industry, though. This is just a very hard role to play.
She plays Amy.
Thank you. She plays Amy Winehouse. And the guy who played Blake, her sort of, lover, estranged lover, the torturer of her soul, the inspirer of her music, et cetera, et cetera. He was good as well. His name is Jack O'Connell. But the movie really suffers from not just letting its actors act. It is a movie that has, horrendous music biopic dialogue spread throughout. Dialogue that just feels engineered to be in the trailer, or like engineered to like create a sort of moment that's iconic, but just massively fails. There's lines like, "I don't want to play the fame game" is a line in the movie.
Amy Winehouse says that line?
Amy Winehouse says that. "I'm no Spice Girl," which is like something that like I'm sure Amy Winehouse said and could have been fun, but they just like they do it as though like you can feel them like gearing up to these lines in a way that is so artificial and not natural. "No, I'm not going to rehab." It's a lot. No. But she says it like it's very. So there's a lot of very silly dialogue. It's very over directed. Again, it's the biggest crime of the movie, and it's a crime of so many music biopics, and it's very hard to do this successfully. But it's just never, the style of the movie is just so like lame in comparison to the subject that the movie is about. The movie never remotely approaches like the style and charisma of Amy Winehouse. It is like a bad cover version of an Amy Winehouse song. It just feels like like a couple nerds tried to make a movie about a really cool person. It's one of those sort of music biopics. And it doesn't. And I mean, a good music biopic, I think, is so rare. I mean, 24-Hour Party People is always one of my favorites.
Elvis.
Yeah.
Buzz Luhrmann's Elvis, the best movie of that year. Absolutely.
Todd Haynes' I'm Not There, and his Velvet Underground documentary. Brett Morgan's Moon Age Daydream, also a sort of documentary-ish thing about David Bowie that came out last year. But those are movies where they are able to they are able to be in the style and the aesthetic of their subject, which I think is so important for for a music biopic to be successful. But it's hard. I mean, because you're talking about these incredible musicians who had incredible visions, and this level of sort of popular artistic genius, and so to try to match that is very hard, and you need to be really on your game, and Sam Taylor Johnson is not even remotely on our game. But the performances in the movie are pretty good despite all the bad dialogue and direction, and there are a couple scenes where the actors are just allowed to be a little more natural and almost, it seems like, maybe improvise a little bit, and you start to get comfortable with the movie for a second, but then it'll be another sort of cheesy scene and you're back out of it. The other thing, and this is, look, the movie doesn't get credit for this. This is stolen valor, but this is something that happens in a lot of music biopics, is the music is so fucking good that, like, it transcends the cheesiness of the movie. So when, like, Back to Black comes on fucking surround sound movie theater speakers for a second, and it's just over a sort of cheesy montage of Amy Winehouse in New York, but for a second I got, like, emotional because the song is so fucking
like Bohemian
good.
Rhapsody, you're like, this is Best Picture.
Because
you just
right,
like
for
the song,
for a
Bohemian
brief second, but it's like, no, I just like the music.
Oh, this is terrible.
Yes. So it is ultimately not a movie I would recommend seeing. Instead, I would strongly recommend, if you haven't seen it already, the documentary Amy, put out by A24. A lot of the scenes in which are just sort of reshot almost scene for scene in Back to Black.
Weird.
But if you haven't watched Amy, the documentary, watch it. It is heartbreaking. It's one of the best music documentaries I've ever seen. I really, really liked Amy. But Back to Black, not so much. So that concludes our a sort of supersized version of Movies Baby. We covered a lot of ground.
Good.
But I'm glad, because there was a lot to talk about in the movies this week. Want to give a shout out to our Patreon executive producers, past and present: Katie, Josh V, Jessica, Josh S, Mary Ellen. You keep us going, as well as our other Patreon supporters. Thank you so much. You can support us on patreon.com/moviesbaby with 5 Ys. Make sure to stay tuned. If you are a Patreon subscriber, in a mere 10 minutes, we will be back with the final showdown episode, the final regular season. Let's say the final regular season episode of our 1999 series. Oh my God, we got all the way through the final regular season, or we almost did. It's not over to that final.
Who knows if we'll get through
that final whistle blows. But tonight we have another triple feature for you. It's a high school bloodbath: Virgin Suicides versus Election versus 10 Things I Hate About You. Oh my God, how we're going to choose between these 3 movies, you'll have to wait to find out. And that's just a mere 10-minute wait if you're on Patreon. Oh gosh, yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. And then if not on Patreon, it'll come out on the podcast apps on Monday. And then, Margaret, can we see that again next week? Oh baby, you thought Barbenheimer was big. Get ready for Garfiosa. Next week, Furiosa, the long-awaited Mad Max Fury Road sequel, the next in the Mad Max franchise, directed by George Miller, and the Garfield movie.
Wow.
Starring Chris Pratt and Samuel L. Jackson.
How's Pratt another one of these guys? We'll talk about it next week. Week. I
don't know how Pratt landed another one, but I will say they played the trailer before Back to Black.
You're dying.
I was like, I can't wait to see this movie.
The reviews are positive.
I can't wait to see this freaking Garfield movie.
The reviews are positive.
All right, next week, Garfiosa. Make sure to join us then. And in the meantime, check out Weekend at Bergman's. And we'll see you again soon. Bye.